instead of saying go or now or something, where it make it feel
just
frenzied.
jet propels them.
Right. I use the chime and it's very calming, and play a couple tones and they quietly move to their next spot. So that's one thing I have found when you were saying that. It made me think of that is sometimes we overtalk or we use the callbacks too much, where it kind of gets them all excited and gets them all nervous. Even some of them get when there's too much going on, and this kind of calms them and gets them ready to move on to their next activity.
Welcome to the BJU Press Teacher Edition podcast, where Christian educators are encouraged and inspired as we bring you interviews, practical ideas, strategies, and answer your questions about teaching in today's culture. And here's your host, Jenny Copeland.
We are back for another episode on the Teacher Edition podcast, and we're glad to have each of you with us. Can you believe we are already in December? Time is just flying by. I know you all are so ready for a break. Hang in there. You are almost there. Hopefully today's episode will bring a little brightness to your day. It's definitely going to be one for the books, a unique one for sure. As always, before we jump into today's topic, let me remind you to take just a minute to subscribe to the podcast. Nobody has time to just randomly go looking for things, and especially not educators. So let that subscribe feature help you. Subscribing or following a podcast makes it really easy for you, and that it will just pop that new episode right up on your device as the episodes are dropped in each week. It's there and ready whenever you are ready to listen to it. You can also then go back and access any episodes that you've missed. And what better time to do that than over the holidays, when you have some driving time or some wrapping presents time or some cleaning time. And while you're listening, don't forget you can also go find us on social media. We're Teacher Edition Podcast on Facebook. You can also find us on Instagram and TikTok at Teacher Edition Pod. Don't forget, we're also on YouTube as Teacher Edition Podcast. Lastly, I want to invite you to go to our website, teachereditionpodcast.com. You can subscribe to our emails there. You can also submit your questions. We are really looking forward to sharing some questions in our upcoming episodes, so go submit those on the website. So as I was thinking about this time of year and all that's going on, and I was thinking about school Christmas programs and parties and gift exchanges and activities and all those fun and unique gifts that you receive as an educator. If you're like me, you have received some incredibly thoughtful and sweet gifts from students and their families. And of course, you have likely received some very interesting items as well. Maybe lots of mugs, interesting candy, fuzzy blankets, maybe even some gift cards. We all love those. Some of you will even have had some room moms or others ask, is there anything in particular we can get you for Christmas? Maybe your family asked you as well. I don't know about you, but I am someone who can never think of something that I want. I really don't have a running list like some people do. I don't like having stashes. Well, maybe just of M&Ms. I'm not really a shopper. I just typically can't think of anything that I want. I'm sorry. I'm one of those people. And then I see something somewhere randomly, and it's like a that's it moment. Like that would be so helpful or so creative or so fun. So a few years back, like I even started a little list on my phone of just odd things that I would see that I think, well, maybe this would be helpful in my classroom or at a conference or in my office. So I was just thinking it might be kind of fun to share some of my favorite tools and toys, and maybe they would be something that would be helpful to you as well. Well, I decided to see if my sister had any input on this topic. Well, of course, a few hundred items later, well, just kidding. Well, the ideas just kept coming and coming. So we thought we would just go off the rails and do a really fun teacher toolbox or maybe teacher wish list session, just sharing some of our favorite tools and maybe some toys too. So I'm excited to welcome Katie Klipp back to the podcast. Katie is in her 21st year of teaching first grade. She also consults on projects here for BJU Press. She speaks at conferences. I can't tell you how many places I go and people stop me and ask, is Katie Klipp your sister? Yep. That's me. I'm the sister. Anyway, it is so great to have her here back with us on the show again for this very unique session. All right, Katie, you ready to start sharing some of our favorite things?
You had me at the word toys. I am so excited about this. This is going to be so fun.
Okay, so I bet that our listeners, well, at least some of them, are thinking we're going to talk about pool noodles Or are you going to talk about pool noodles?
No, there are so many other great teacher toys out there. No,
Okay.
well, maybe we
Okay.
could talk about them a little.
Okay, well, we'll get past the pool noodles for this session. So I thought we would talk about fun tools for the classroom. Specifically, let's start out with engaging students and maybe some classroom management tools. Does that work? So
Yeah, right. And it's as we start, it comes back to me over and over and over how one tool can make such a difference in your
very
classroom.
true.
And I know there's
Yep.
tools that I'm going to share even today that are like, wow, this one little thing that I added to my classroom or that somebody suggested to me has made such a huge difference. So I guess that's why I'm super excited about this.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to have to keep this moving. So let's do this. Let's tell what the tool is, how we use it, or why we like it, and then maybe even give a suggestion where to find it, or if we know about how much it costs at the moment of this this episode. Okay, so well, for Katie, by the way, that will probably be Amazon, and maybe even from the Amazon satellite location that they have set up in her front yard.
That's
But
right.
we'll try to give you what you need if you want to go chase any of these down. Okay, so I'm going to start simple. I'll start it out with buzzers. Okay, so I really like buzzers. They're easy to store. They're small. They could be an easy buzzer. You know, we've seen all those from Staples. I think that kind of got it started. But now there's ones with animal noises or things, you know, that say boom or hooray or wow or whatever. There's of course the buzzer sounds, and there's even recordable ones. I just love buzzers because they're really great for quickly engaging students in a quick competition. You don't have big setup, you just pull it out. I love the recordable ones too. You could have a message from the principal. You could have a message from an upperclassman. You could even have people in your class record, you know, congratulatory things on a buzzer. They're just super inexpensive. I typically get them from Amazon. They're just a few dollars each, especially if you buy them in a set or a pack. By the way, if you prefer digital buzzers, there are two sites that I recommend. I might throw some of these in here just because I love the digital too. Multibuzz.app, buzzin.live. Those are two free digital buzzers. They look just like this on the screen, and students can quickly, if you only have a couple devices in your classroom, they can do that. Katie, did you have any other uses on buzzers you wanted to throw in?
I think you've covered it by saying you can use it in contests or, review games or whatever. And even on the first grade level, I find myself saying, good job or way to go a lot of times. And so I like carrying just a buzzer in my hand, or I got one in my sweater pocket. And just when somebody answers well, or they show, really good thinking on a concept, I give that little buzzer sound, and it's just like a different kind of reinforcement than the teacher saying good thinking or well done.
Yeah.
And along that
Definitely
same
brings a
line,
smile.
I brought a toy. So this is another
great.
thing that
Okay.
I like to use for reinforcement for my students. I don't know. This one says it's called Sound Machine. I know that's a really generic name, but that's pretty much what it is. It's a little box that makes a lot of different sound effects. And my first graders, of course, love the screaming person, but there's laughing,
Push
it. Yeah, that's what they do when they want me to push it. There's laughing. Let's see. I don't know if you can even hear these on here, but even though that's like a wrong answer sound, everybody laughs. Somebody, we missed it. Oh, well, let's try it again. It just kind of softens the blow a little bit. And I just love the novelty of this again, and just keep it in your pocket. And you don't use it every day, just every once in a while, pull it out. And, the clapping coming from the sound machine is way more exciting than the teacher saying, excellent, you really thought through that problem. And it's just something novel and something fun. They're just a few dollars. A lot of times they're even labeled as like a Halloween toy, I guess, because they do all kinds of funny sound effects. So that's where you might find them as labeled on Amazon or whatever, but you can get them anywhere, and they're just a few dollars. And my students, it just brings a smile to their face when they hear a funny sound, more than just hearing my voice all the time saying good job.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Speaking of little things that can do a lot, I was thinking about tap lights. So I have a little tap light here. Using these as indicators in your classroom when they can talk, when they can't talk. Maybe when they have a question, they can turn their light on. Maybe when you as a class are trying to answer a question, maybe you're looking at the target for the day or the essential question, you turn on the light. It just draws attention to it. Maybe you could tell when you as a teacher are available to answer a question if you're trying to work with groups and they're like, can I ask you now?
Never available. You just don't turn it on?
Then just don't turn on the light ever. Maybe you could turn it on with determining which group has the floor. If you're doing a discussion or a debate, it could be an answer indicator. You can get these in all different colors even. So maybe one's true, one's false. If a center is available, if someone's done at a center, they turn the light on or off. If someone needs help, like I mentioned before, if they have a question, they could turn this on. Again, you can get them at Walmart, Dollar Store. I got these at Dollar General, Amazon, all different colors, shapes, and sizes, just really, really expensive.
No, I love tapping buttons. I do
yes.
cringe a little when I see those tap lights though, because it reminds me of during COVID when every time a student would complete one of the learning centers, they would turn the light on to let me know it had to be cleaned.
It had to be cleaned.
Because
yes.
we had to clean in between every little thing that we did.
That.
No, but let's talk about other nice buttons instead. So one I wanted to share was my wireless doorbell system that I use in my classroom. And this was an idea shared with me by a teacher a couple years ago, and it has been a game changer for my classroom. This one's from Sado Tech, just on Amazon. But what I love about it is this just plugs into a plug in my room. And I think this one has 88 different sounds that it can play, and it has 4 different volume levels. And you think, why do you need a doorbell? Well, one, I do have a doorbell at my door because our doors are a little hard to hear when people are knocking. And so I want to know when somebody's there, or if a child, left to go to the office or something and needed to come back, so they can push the doorbell. We use it as a normal doorbell, but what I love about this one is it's extendable. So I have about 5 other little buttons around my classroom, and they can all do a different sound. Wow. I have trained my students to respond to different sounds. So obviously the doorbell sound, they know that there's somebody at the door, but we have other sounds that mean clean up. And I have one at my desk. Sometimes I even wear it around my neck. And I have one over by my reading table. So that way, when I'm done with my reading group and we're getting close to the end and I want my students to clean up whatever they're doing and get ready to change rotations for small groups, I can ring this cleanup chime and it gets them going. It kind of saves some of the chaos of, I wasn't done, I didn't get to, do that kind of thing. So we use it for cleaning up. I've programmed one of them to a different sound, and that's our freeze sound. So like today, we were working in groups on a project and I needed to tell them something, and without, yelling and saying, everybody stop talking, I just rang the one that was the freeze signal. They all froze. I told them what I needed, and then we kept going. So there's so many different sounds. You can do a bazillion different receivers and all the different buttons together. And it's just so helpful, and it's really inexpensive too. But I just love, you can even change them to holiday themed things when the Christmas holidays come and things like that. So I've enjoyed the wireless doorbell for a button.
Yeah. I like that it's just kind of a calm way to do things too. I think sometimes we bring on some chaos in our classrooms inadvertently, by counting down or shouting out or clapping or whatever. And I know some of those can be used well, but when a tone can tell students exactly what to do, we can save ourselves, some of that as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I was reminded of the usefulness of my next tool recently when we gave these away at an event. Microphones for the classroom. So when I taught, I actually had a set of inflatable little microphones from Oriental Training Company, and you can get them many places now. But I loved those because I could deflate them, and I didn't have a lot of room in my classroom, so I could just put them in a little bitty bin and kept them. But recently we gave away foam ones, and they were such a hit with the teachers. Actually, these are Teacher Edition podcast microphones, and we gave them away to subscribers at an event. And it just reminded me of how much, everybody loves a microphone. It was just funny to watch. The adults even had all kinds of things to say once they had a microphone in their hand. And I have found over and over that students are far more willing to talk with a microphone in their hands, and they just have more fun doing it. I taught middle school, I taught 6th grade, I taught 5th grade, and they I don't really want to participate. But when I put a stool in the front of the room and gave them a microphone, it was amazing the things that they would talk about and share. And we had so much fun with them talking about what they were learning and projects, all because they had a microphone. So again, their foam ones are really inexpensive, or those blow-up ones are just dollars each on Amazon.
Yeah, great. Hey, before we go on to, I think we're going to say something else about more ways to get students to respond or whatever. Can I go back to the doorbell chime thing just for a second? I wanted to show everybody. This one is plain old chime, looks kind of like a little Zen chime thing. This is from Woodstock Chimes. And when you were saying, sometimes we overtalk in saying, counting down or saying 1, 2, 3, go, and everybody moves and it turns into kind of a spilled rice type of transition. And I use this for dismissing my students to things like, say we're going into small group rotation time, instead of saying go or now or something, where it make it feel frenzied. I use the chime, and it's very calming, and play a couple tones and they quietly move to their next spot. So that's one thing I have found when you were saying that. It made me think of that. Is sometimes we overtalk or we use the callbacks too much, where it kind of gets them all excited and gets them all nervous. Even some of them get when there's too much going on, and this kind of calms them and gets them ready to move on to their next activity.
Can you play that chime? Like, so this isn't like a triangle,
No,
that's
no.
gonna
Well,
ding.
I mean, you can get little wind chimes at the Dollar Tree too,
True,
and that
true.
also works well for movement. But you can. It's just very basic.
It's just,
And you can do it in any pattern that you want, and it's just kind of nice and calming, and instead of a off to the races type of go type remark.
Absolutely. Okay. So your mention of doing something that accomplishes the same thing, but in a calmer way, we've kind of talked about this a few times, reminded me of my O ball.
Oh, I love those.
I loved mixing things up in my classroom and having something that was passed or tossed or held. And I know that's, everybody does that. It's in our teacher editions. People use that, but what to pass, and I've been in classes where it was the marker board eraser or the markers. Yeah, not good. I still remember the white shirt with the big, whiteboard mark right there. I like the O ball because it's quiet. I mean, it doesn't make any noise. It's very pliable. If you can see, it's really squishy, but it's also really easy to catch, which helped avoid some embarrassing moments. I found these at Target, Walmart, on Amazon. They're all under $10, but I really loved it again because it just happens to kind of catch on them. I had some students who just weren't as coordinated as others, and I always felt bad myself when it was time to pass it to them. And I'm probably not the best thrower, and neither is anybody else in the classroom. So, when you have a bad throw and an uncoordinated child, we can have some embarrassing moments. But with the holes, it just kind of happened to catch, which made it a little bit easier. And then, of course, if they missed, no one was going to get hurt by a flying football or marker or something like that. So anyway, these are called O balls.
Oh, I love that thing. We were just using it actually yesterday in my class, and it works just how you said it, because first graders are still working on the whole catching thing. And yeah, they just happen to put their hand up in the air, and if it hits it, great. But that one happens to snag on their finger, and we get more catches than we do disasters. But and actually, I was just in Target the other day, and they had those in the baby section. So you might not be thinking where they are in the store would be the baby section, but it is.
Yeah, I guess they're that safe, huh?
Yeah, so many options.
Okay. Okay,
so I was going to show spinners next. And there are so many different kinds of, I guess, digital spinners. And you can tell more about that. You're the techie person. I brought some of my favorite spinners because I love to give my students options on things. And I got this one on Amazon. I actually got it for my birthday this summer. Yeah, teachers put teacher stuff on their birthday list. And so this one we use for handwriting warm-ups. I have some students in my class who especially benefit from muscle warm-ups before we begin handwriting. We warm up for every other class, right? For PE and everything else we stretch out. So we do handwriting warm-ups, but this is just a fun way so that we're not doing the same one all the time. So we use that. That's an Amazon spinner. Also, I mean, these are little ones from Dollar Tree, but you can get them online as well. And you can make your own whiteboard options. Put this in the middle, holds on with a magnet, and then you can spin it and it decides the options too. And takes some of the pressure off the teacher of making the decisions all the time. And
because they'll obey the spinner better than you.
Right. Yeah. These are clear spinners. I know it's kind of hard to see because it's clear.
Yeah. No,
but
I can
that's
see.
For like if students are making their own, they can even be working on fractions or probability, things like that. And they just lay this over their work and then use it for a spinner. I know a lot of teachers use like an eraser of a pencil or the tip of a pencil and a paper clip. Of course, my first graders find all sorts of uses for paper clips that I give them to make spinners. So I've really loved these that they can put it right over their work and then use it for whatever project they're working on, math, science, whatever it might be. So there's a lot of options for spinner. You used some too, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. And I noticed in the one that you showed, but just to kind of point it out to maybe those who didn't see it when you held it up, often we think the spinner is like to put names. So we're going to pick who goes first in line or whatever, but putting other things, we could put states and they say the capital. We can put, math facts and they say the answer. You could put periodic table elements and, they're naming. Yeah. So even there, I don't see names. I see, actions or things to do.
These are different warm-ups. Even like when you're doing something like, tricky multiplication problems, rather than saying, all right, now we're going to do 15 multiplication problems. How about you put them on a spinner, spin it, or flashcards. Then it lands on one of them. Oh, everybody's all excited. They all do the multiplication problem. And what do they know? 15 minutes have gone by and they've done, 20 different problems and we're just having fun doing it. And they didn't realize it was work.
Yeah, yeah. And two digital ones too that I recommend is Wheel of Names. That's really easy. It's free. Flippity is another one. Flippity.net you can go to. They have a free one as well. You just fill in the information and use it. It's great. Great digital tool as well. Speaking of visual, I also really enjoy visual timers. So I have one with me here. I know this is kind of fancy, but
Where
not
did
all
you get that? Off of Noah's Ark?
Yeah, pretty much. Yep, that's right. But not all students, we think if we tell them, okay, 1 minute till cleanup, or you have 3 minutes to do this, they don't all have a solid grasp on how long a minute is or 10 minutes or whatever. And I've just really found that a visual helps gauge their time because we can get frustrated with them. I told you had 1 minute, but they don't understand that. So, and I'm not just, these are not just elementary ideas. These are all the way into high school. And I just found that a good old sand timer is a really fun visual. They're amused by it and get them all colors, shapes, and sizes. I bought this one at Walmart. It's just, a home decor one. But Katie, I think you've used some other ones
Yeah,
too,
I actually
right?
brought some of my timers. So here's one. This one's from Lakeshore Learning, and this is a huge digital timer. I love it. I mean, if you look at it compared to my face, it's a pretty big digital timer, so my students can see it across the room, so they can watch it that way. Another timer that I've been using this year to help students with some of their visual perception of time. And you can get this one counts down and they can watch the time, they can watch the green going by. And then when it rings, then it's like, oh, okay, the time is up. And it's not super loud. It's got options on it for what you can do with how loud you want it to be, whether you want a sound at all. But I love the visual aspect of this so that the students can see the time going by. Another one, there are so many online timers as well that you can actually put in PowerPoint. I know Teachers Pay Teachers has so many. I used some this morning because I have students having trouble with figuring out how much time is left before we start the day, and then they don't have their morning jobs done. So I've used a PowerPoint timer. It's just a digital timer. It looks like the red one I just showed you, but it counts down for them. And I saw students this morning even saying, oh, this is so much better because I can tell there's 5 minutes left. You know what? I'm not going to use my gold coins and go shopping. I better get my morning jobs done. So using those timers and helping our students rather than just keeping repeating, oh, there's 1 minute left or 30 seconds left. Like you said, I think it's so important for them to be able to see it. And it helps build their own perception of time for their job someday.
Yeah. This is real world stuff here. This is authentic. So great. Did you have something there?
Okay. Yeah. Oh, another thing I wanted to show you. Okay. So this is, we use iPads in our classroom. I'm a 1-to-1 classroom. And so my students do a lot. I want them recording their work, and so that I can see what they're doing. Maybe they're at a learning center while I'm teaching reading, or maybe it's something I want them to record so that their parents can see their progress or lack thereof. But sometimes when you record on an iPad or a phone or whatever, the recording doesn't come across really clear, especially with first graders who are jiggling it in their lap and you're getting all the feedback from the speakers and things like that. So this plugs into the audio jack and they can speak into it just like a phone. It is funny though, because I saw some of my first graders even using it today upside down because they're not really sure which way it goes. I'm like, they've never seen one of these before.
What's that cord?
I know it's a very retro type style here, but I thought it was fun, and it really picks up their voice well. And then you can also play back through it, so it works kind of like headphones. They can use it as a headset that way. So that has been really important for, while there's noise going on in the classroom, I still get a clear recording of the student's voice.
It's just a natural thing once they figure out which way the cord goes, right?
Yeah.
By the way, while you were talking, I noticed behind you, your magnetic gutter, if you want to call it bookshelf, whatever. I love those. And I know those are available on Amazon. I just saw them recently. They're only about $10. And it is it's like, they call it a bookshelf, but to me, it kind of looks like a magnetic gutter that you can stick on your board and display anything, books or clocks or whatever. I don't know if you have anything, but I saw that and I thought that's a good one.
That one has been up because I've been teaching time this week. And I just love it for all the things that don't stick to the board or that you want to display and have ready for your students, whether it be a poster or whatever. And it's, something that's too heavy for the board. I love that those little magnetic gutters or bookshelves, whatever you want to call them, work great for that. I love it for displaying whatever book we're going to be reading that day. Just so many different uses. Yeah, those are great.
The chalk tray can only hold so many things.
Yeah, speaking of books, can I share the tool? I know I was telling you about this before. It's an app. So it's a little hard to show, but I wanted to mention this for our listeners because it has just totally transformed the way I do read aloud in my classroom. And whether you're a pre-K teacher, lower elementary, or whether you are still liking to read storybooks even to your middle elementary and upper elementary students, the app is called Novel Effect. And I was introduced to it this summer at a technology conference, and I was blown away by what it does. And it's been so exciting. I used it today. I've been using it almost every day this year. What it is the premise is the teacher still gets to use their paper book. I am holding a book in front of my students. I'm turning the actual pages. That is very important to me as a teacher.
Right. Yeah.
But when I turn on the app and open the app, then most of my books that I read are actually in the app. There's quite a few.
Just already there automatically.
They're already there automatically. The app designer has put so many books in there for teachers to use. I tap on that book. I start reading it. I start reading the paper copy of it to my students. And the app is listening with the use of AI for the really important words in the book on each page, and it is giving me sound effects to support my reading.
Nice.
So today we were reading a story about turkeys and things like that as we're getting ready for the holidays, and it was giving me gobbling turkeys in the background. It was giving me mysterious music when the turkey got lost. It was doing so many wonderful things like this one. Okay, so this is one that I'm reading tomorrow to my students. This is Bear Feels Sick. And I still want to get that paper copy in front of them. I want to be face to face with them and not having them using a screen. But when I open this and I open the app and it's listening to me read, it's giving me the sounds of winter and it's giving me the sound of the bear snoring.
It brings that book to life.
It is absolutely bringing the book to life. And it actually stops. So if I stop and I want to discuss the book with my students, it stops and waits for me. Or if I have something I need to take care of or something in the middle.
What if you have to correct somebody?
Yes, it waits for me and it listens for those keywords. Also now, in the last few weeks, they've been adding paper pencil activities as well. So like the book that we read today, it had a PDF document of 65 pages of questions I can ask my students, different activities that I can do with them to follow up after the story. It is an absolute goldmine. You can use the website or you can use the app, and they're constantly adding new books. It is a paid subscription. I think I got it for like $30 for the year. I think it was on a sale price when I got it, but it is so worth it. You can even get a school-wide license, but it just brings read aloud time to life, and it's absolutely amazing. I think it's one of the highlights of things that I've added to my classroom this year that I absolutely can't do without. It's been wonderful.
That's fantastic. Okay, so while you're talking about that, along those lines kind of is a Bluetooth speaker. And I just think those are so helpful for the classroom. I actually have a couple. I mean, you can get the big full powered ones. I mean, this is a little sample one that I was sent. And I mean, they're everywhere now. They're not new. They've been around, so you can get them so inexpensively. Whether you're showing a video, whether you want them to hear pronunciation, you're listening to music, whatever, it just kind of gives that extra oomph and clarity. And again, like I said, they're so inexpensive now. One thing I do want to say is beware if you get too cheap. They do get a little staticky. They can be a little distorted, but having these around the classroom and they're just connected to your device. So when you play something, it's not, you're trying to get your laptop as loud as possible. Everyone can hear without, straining themselves.
Yes, absolutely. And with that app that I was just mentioning, the Novel Effect app, I can connect my phone to the Bluetooth speaker. I have a magnetic one up on my whiteboard, and it fills the room with the sound effects and the music, and it's just so magical. So it's a great pairing with that too.
That's fantastic. Okay, what else do you have?
So many wonderful things. Well, totally aside from that, I brought some big number cubes with me today.
Yeah, those are
and
big.
This would be a great way to use some of those Amazon gift cards. They have so many huge number cubes. I love this we sit in a circle. I roll one into the middle. They quick add 2 in their mind. And, we're practicing our +2s or our ×7s if you're in, 3rd and 4th grade. So these are just a fun way to practice math without using flashcards or without using, the normal, just the worksheets. So, consider that even.
Great.
I know those big foam ones that are squishy that you can get on Amazon too that are really fun to use.
That's great.
And if we can, I guess maybe we should go back to book stuff for a second. Okay, so
keep going.
I brought something that you techie folks out there would like. Hang on, let me just grab it from over here. I know, right? You're cheering. So sometimes we think of tech resources like robots and things like that just being for coding or just being for the smart kids who know how to do, the coding and the logic and things like that. So I use Ozobots in my classroom, these little guys. And I know there's so many different models. These are kind of an older model, but you can get them online. But what I love is that These are not just all on coding and using a screen. There is no screen whatsoever. Ozobots are screenless coding, and they actually use colors to take their commands. So my students can use markers and make the pattern of colors to tell it to go forward or go backward or to turn a corner. And actually Ozobot, just in the past few, I think it's in the past year, they've added all these magnetic tiles as well that already have the color commands on them. So my students don't even have to worry about getting the colors just right because they don't have the fine motor to do that as well. But they can use it to make a path with the magnets and tell the robot where to go. You say, why do you use that in first grade? Well, I don't really use it a lot for just coding in itself. I use it, for an example, we used it with story sequencing. So using from Trove, the art that goes with some of our reading stories, I laid out the art from the reading stories, and they had to code and tell the Ozobot to go and visit each of the cards in order and how they happened in the story.
Nice.
So pulling in that just different skills and bringing in that kind of cross-curricular type
I'm sure
thing.
They love that.
Oh, they did. It was so fun.
Such a challenge.
And it taught them to think through it in a different way than just putting cards in order
the
to
problem
sequence
solving.
the story. Yes.
Yeah,
and there are so many wonderful books. We could go on and on of wonderful book sets and things like that for developing character in your students. I think of Good News for Little Hearts. That's a huge, wonderful set of books. It's kind of pricey, but it's so worth it. I think one of your guests on the podcast mentioned it last year and put it right on my wish list. And it's just been such a help. It's so down to earth, and it helps my students understand character issues a lot better than they did before.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So as I figured, we have gotten ourselves into a bind here. We still have lots to share. I still have lots on this table, and I know you do too, but we're out of time. So let's do this. Let's pick this up next time, and we'll share some more fun tools. And next time we'll talk about ways to streamline your work, maybe help things be quicker, more productive, more efficient.
Oh, I'm coming back for that one.
Oh, yes, please. I would like you to come back. I'm going to throw this out there, though, as well. So we aren't the only ones with favorite tools. I know that you, as our listeners, have fun tools and amazing ideas as well. So I'm going to throw this out. If you would like to share your favorite tools, go to our website, teachereditionpodcast.com, scroll down towards the bottom on that first page to where we're asking you to share questions. Just click on the button there. It says, let's go, and then share your idea. And what we'll do is we'll share those ideas in the next episode as well. I know as educators, we learn so much from each other. So let me add in a little motivation there. We will randomly select 5 winners from those who submit their ideas this week, and we'll give you a little gift card so you can go do some shopping for yourself and maybe even get something that you learned about here on the show. So once again, go to teachereditionpodcast.com, scroll down to the area where you can leave a question and click on the Let's Go button. Share your favorite idea, and then we'll include those in next week's episode. Katie, I'm excited about your ideas, but I'm really excited to see what our listeners are going to share as well. And with that, we're going to wrap up this episode of Teacher Tools and Favorites. Listeners, it's been great having you with us. I hope you found a few items that might be helpful to you in your classroom. I know that there is so much more to come, so you won't want to miss next week's episode for part 2. Remember to go to teachereditionpodcast.com to learn more about the show and to submit questions for our upcoming episodes. Also, share those favorite tools. Of course, be sure to subscribe to the podcast and follow us on social media. Now, it's time to get back to your day, but it's not just any day. Every day in the classroom is your day to impact and inspire through God's power and through His grace working in you. Now, go do what God has called you to do.